Hello and welcome to Talon's quick and dirty Daggerfall tutorial. So you've heard about Daggerfall Unity and got it downloaded, but you don't know how exactly you play this game. It is, after all, 25 years old. This tutorial is going to be very bare bones, and I won't go into much detail, only the bare minimum needed to get you started. There will be other tutorials available if you want more details. Additionally, I won't be giving any instructions on what key presses to make, as this can be reviewed once you get into the game. The exception to this is for mouse buttons and keys that cannot be rebound. The first thing that you want to do is create your character. To do that, click Start a New Game. Then pick your race by clicking one of the provinces, not the Imperial province though. Then click your sex. Then click the top option to select your class from a list of classes. For the first playthrough, I recommend one of the three pre-made classes, Ranger, Spellsword, or Rogue. I highly suggest Ranger, but if you want to use Magic or Stealth, you can get away with one of the other two. Then you want to click the bottom option to choose your character's career path. This gives you a chance to get to know your character. There are no right or wrong answers, so pick whichever seems the coolest to you. Keep in mind this particular question, as it is asking you what your character is weak at. This choice, because it is detrimental to your character, has a more obvious impact on your gameplay than any of the others. Once you've answered all the questions, you'll have the opportunity to name your character, and then pick your character's face. Then you'll get to the stats screen. Your stats are all rolled simultaneously, and you have the opportunity to re-roll them as much as you like to get whatever sort of stat spread you like. Keep in mind that when you level up, you'll have a few points to spend on increasing these stats. Don't forget about your freebie points. They must allocate in order to continue. When you re-roll stats, you also re-roll the number of freebie points you get, up to a maximum of 14. Then you get 6 points in each category of skills to assign as you wish. This is also a good opportunity to review what skills your selected class has in its arsenal. Here you have the opportunity to select your reflexes. The reflexes setting affects the speed at which you and your enemies move and attack. For most people, especially those that have played other first-person RPGs, you'll be perfectly fine with very high reflexes. Finally, you have the opportunity to review all the changes you have made to your character. You can reassign your freebie points for stats and skills here, as well as change your name, appearance, and reflexes setting. Once you hit start, there will be a cutscene, and you'll be thrown into the game. I'm going to skip these cutscenes for convenience. After the cutscene ends, you'll have the dialogue pop up on the screen. Read it, and then click in order to dismiss it. You'll then be presented with an opportunity for an in-game tutorial. I would recommend skipping it, as it takes a long time between dialogue prompts and disregards any changes you may have made to your key bindings. After that, the first thing you want to do is save the game, as you can and likely will die in the first dungeon, and you don't want to have to remake your character every time. Open up your inventory and review what equipment your character has started with. Equip any armor and weapons you have, and prepare for your first dungeon crawl. Use the interact key to open the door you'll find shortly and ready your weapon for combat. Press down and hold the right mouse button and move your mouse to attack. There are 4 types of attack that all do different things depending on in what direction you move the mouse. The most important of these are thrust attacks, which are performed by moving the mouse forward or upward. Thrust attacks are more likely to hit but do less damage. These are convenient in the early game when your ability to hit your target is not very good. Use your interact button to loot piles and corpses. Now you can start exploring the dungeon. Keep in mind that in Daggerfall, attacking is based on rolls of the dice. There are visual and auditory cues that will let you know if you hit or miss. Morrowind players will be right at home missing rats well into the mid-game. One enemy that you may encounter early on in Privateer's Hold, that's the dungeon you're in, is an imp. This guy can be really dangerous. Some enemies are more powerful than others and may need better weaponry in order to hurt them. The imp, for example, cannot be hurt with iron weaponry, and you must use steel or better to hurt it. The exception to this is hand-to-hand, which can hurt any enemy. Eventually, you will have taken a lot of damage. You can rest in order to recover your health, fatigue, and spell points. This may take several in-game hours, which can become important later on when you have timed quests. You may press the rest button and get a pop-up that says that there are enemies nearby. You can try to hunt the enemy that is preventing you from resting, or you can retreat to a safer area of the dungeon. If you rest after receiving that pop-up, the game may spawn an enemy at you during your sleep. Speaking of spell points, if you decided to play a class that is capable of casting spells, you can do so by opening up your spell book, selecting the spell you would like to cast, and then, depending on the target of the spell, pressing the interact button on the target. Ensure that when you select a spell, you double-click. Do not exit the spellbook unless you don't want to cast a spell. Anything you cast on yourself will immediately cast when you double-click. Anything that you cast on anything else will require you to use the interact button to target. Eventually you may get lost. If you do so, you can open the map. Left-click and hold to pan the camera, right-click and hold to rotate the camera around the location of the player, middle mouse button and hold to adjust the transparency level by moving the mouse up and down. You can also use the scroll wheel to zoom in and zoom out. You might run into a locked door. When you try to open a locked door, a line of text will appear that indicates that the door is locked. You can try to pick open the door by using a key to switch to the steel interaction mode. If that doesn't work, you'll have to use a bit of elbow grease. Eventually you'll find the exit. It looks like this. Ignore me being hit by whatever enemy that was. Open up your world map and bask in the glory that is the Iliac Bay. You'll notice that there are many different regions of the Iliac Bay, one of which will be flashing red when you first open the map. This region is the region of Daggerfall, and is your present location. Click the region of Daggerfall and you will be presented with a map consisting of many squares. Right-click on the map to zoom in a little bit. Hover over the squares to see the names of the locations they represent. Click a square to bring up travel options. You can also press F to find a location that you already know of by name, such as the city of Daggerfall itself. This will also bring up travel options to go there. You can travel as much as you like, but stay in the region of Daggerfall for now, as you will soon receive a letter that starts the main quest. When you get into a town, you can press the same map button you used in the dungeon to review a map of the town, and you can navigate this map much like you did the map in the dungeon. Now, you can join a guild, get quests, and go on your own adventure. This will be the end of the tutorial, and I hope you get some use out of it.